Cool. Here we are. We are live. Yeah. You were talking about the people that we've lost so far, which is a shitload this year, man. Tons, man. You got actors, you got singers, you got directors. David Lynch,
Yeah.
Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman really hurt, man. I really like Gene Hackman. I
Uh,
mean, he was retired anyway, but the way he went and the way him and his wife and everything went at the same time, it was like he was by himself, I think, and he suffered. You
mhm.
know, that was a bummer because Gene Hackman was great in everything.
See, to me, I grew up with the Superman movies, so we lost Gene
Mm.
Hackman and Terrence Stamp this year. You know,
Yeah, Zod, yeah.
yeah, and that was a major bummer. You know, because I love Gene Hackman and everything. I mean, what can you not say about him? But Terrence Stamp was one of those guys that could bring dignity to any
Mhm.
type of movie. You know, when he was in Young Guns, you know what I mean? He was great
Right.
in Young Guns. But or if it's something cheesy like the fucking Superman movies, he brought that dignity. Or you ever see that really bad horror movie with the with Elizabeth Shue and the killer orangutan Link? He was the doctor doing the experiments on the chimp. It was like it's from like
Uh,
'86 maybe. Here, I'll go see if I can get it 1 second. But yeah, he brought 1 sec.
no, I don't think I've ever seen that. It sounds good though. It sounds entertaining. I I remember him as Zod when Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman's. I remember he said something to him, and Terrence Stamp says, "But why do you talk to me like this when you know I will kill you?" Just so dignified about the way he was destroying people. Or when the three villains are standing up by the Coke sign discussing how discussing Kal-El, the son of Jor-El, and how they plan on smashing him. Because she died a couple of years ago.
Yeah, let's see here. Link, 1986.
Okay,
You can't really see the cover very well, but
right.
I got it from Kino Lorber. Uh, Elizabeth Shue and Terrence Stamp, directed by Richard Franklin, who did the FX movies.
Uh-huh.
Jerry Goldsmith did the
Blah.
score. Yeah, Terrence
Yeah.
Stamp is a zoology professor at the remote home he shares with two brilliant chimpanzees and an elderly orangutan butler named Link, and it just ends up being one of those killer primate movies.
Right.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's even
that's pretty
something like that. Terrence Stamp brought some gravitas and some dignity to it, just
good.
because the way he always presented himself.
Yeah. Why do you talk to me like this when you know I will kill you?
Yeah, he's so good. He's so good.
He
And
was.
he was just and he kept acting, I think, all the way up till the end, if I remember, or at least
I
until
remember,
very recently.
I remember he was in episode. He was in Star Wars Episode 1. He was the one that held the position that Palpatine ended up taking at the end.
Yeah, yeah, and perfect role. You know what I mean? Being like a senator. You know what I mean? He
Yep.
got that dignity, that gravitas. He just the way he just stands there. You know what I mean? He commands respect. The way he
Yeah.
just he walks onto a film. And
Yeah. I like Man of Steel. I am a Michael Shannon fan, and I
mhm,
liked what Michael Shannon brought as far as Zod goes. But the
mhm.
only real true Zod is the one from Superman 2.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just the way he handles himself with like Brando of all people. You know what I mean? And everybody, all the elders. He showed no fucking fear, and you believed it when he said, "You'll kneel before me and your heirs." You know what I mean?
Mm,
You believed it from him.
yeah.
And those movies, as much as I love them, don't get me wrong, they are super freaking cheesy. And he brought that, I guess you would say, realism. You know what I mean? To it just by the way he presented himself.
He took it seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like when someone's in a really goofy movie and they treat their role like Shakespeare. That's what
Right.
he did. That's what he did in those movies. He knew what he was in. He read the script. He probably read some comics for research. And he's like, this is kind of fucking stupid, but an actor's got an act, and he treated it like an acting job.
Yeah. Well, he seen Brando was in it and
Mm-hmm.
Hackman was in it, and he was like, hey, even though it's cheesy, I bet they're gonna bring theirs because Brando did the same thing. Brando treated it very seriously too.
Yeah.
And even though Hackman's Lex Luthor was kind of goofy, and he hung around with Ned Beatty, and they had the music that played. No,
Yeah. The bumbling like Keystone Cops type of thing. Yeah.
Hackman still took it seriously. You know what I mean? He was still very serious. When things get serious, when he was doing something really sinister, he would get this. Hackman had this evil look and grin about him. He was really good at that. I remember him all the way back to Bonnie and Clyde with Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway.
Yeah,
where he played Beatty's, where he played Clyde's brother. And I remember one picture scene with him and Beatty where they get fighting around like brothers and they're punching at each other and stuff, and it just they really felt like brothers. You know what I mean? Hackman could do anything. One of my favorite things that he ever did was Hoosiers. That's one of my favorite films. Okay. That affects me kind of directly because it takes place in Indiana. You know what I mean? So, we're like the basketball state, supposedly. Right. Well, he was just so good at it. You know what I mean? He was so good. He plays Norman Dale. Basically, he's playing half and half the original guy and the other half Bobby Knight.
Oh, Jesus.
So he's kind of like Bobby Knight. The reason he was coaching college basketball, but he got fired from it because him and a student player, a college student player, got into an argument and he hit the student.
Oh, okay.
And kind of what happened with Bobby Knight.
Do you ever see Hackman in Enemy of the State with Will Smith?
Yes.
Yeah, when he's, hey, credit where credit's due, Will Smith was good in that, but man, he was intense in that fucking movie. He was really good, and it just shows, he multi-generational Hackman was, and he was just so good. He really was. That was a major, and even though like you said, he'd been retired for a while, it's still a major loss.
I seen it was a couple of years ago, I think. I was watching something on YouTube, and they showed a picture of him, and he was getting out of his truck, and he looked just like every other Joe. And he's getting out, and they talked about he was like 92 or 93 years old, and I said, "Holy shit, Hackman's that old?" And then I said, "Oh my God, that is Hackman." He had lost a bunch of weight. Yeah. And I was like, and I couldn't find out that he was like a Marine or some shit at one time. And it's like, no wonder he had that hard edge to him. You know what I mean? No wonder he had that discipline.
Especially that generation, of Marines.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. You don't fuck with that generation, dude.
Yeah. That was the old school. That was the old school. That kind of like Full Metal Jacket showed that kind of drill sergeant. So it's like, yeah. Man, I love so much shit that he did. Man, of course you got, you got the French Connection. You got so many things, man. I could go on for an hour naming the movies that he did. Yeah. He was just so excellent. Now, I know you were never a huge Hulk Hogan fan, but
as a kid, I was. And then as I got older, I'm like, how come, if Hulk Hogan's the champ, how come he's never fucking on the show, type of thing. And I never watched him in WCW. But I loved him. Early NWO Hogan. He took the football and he went, 100 yards and scored that touchdown. And it brought that life back into his career. And I think that's when he was at his best, to be honest.
Yeah, he needed it. The red and yellow, you know what I mean? The hero and the sparkling clean, toothpaste smile hero had gotten old, and people were just, got to where they were just wanting beat. Like when Sid came in as Sid Justice, they were cheering for Sid to beat Hogan. They were just tired of it. And that's why when he became a heel and became Hollywood Hogan, I guess the way it happened was, from what Kevin Nash said, is he was trying to do those promos like, "Let me tell you something, brother." You know what I mean? And he was doing all that, and I guess Nash and Hall were like, "No,
can't do that anymore, dude. That guy's dead." Yeah,
that guy's gone. This is the NWO. And we're bad guys, you know what I mean? You can't do that. You gotta get edgy. You gotta get shitty. You got that dick in you somewhere. They didn't realize how much of that dick he had in him.
Right.
But he pulled it out.
Yeah.
Terry Bollea, I didn't have a whole lot of I ended up not respecting so much. But Hulk Hogan, if you split him up and you put Hulk Hogan, whether it's NWO Hogan Hollywood Hogan, or you put the Hulkster Hulk Hogan.
Mhm.
He was huge. Him and Michael Jordan were the two main things in my life as far as entertainment goes when I was a teenager and a kid.
Yeah, and
So,
see, and we've talked about this many times. Separate the art from the artist. You got to, you know what I mean? But I will say this: you can say, you know, Terry Bollea might not have been the best guy, but you can't deny what he did for children's charities and sick
yeah,
kids and stuff like that. So yeah, he said some stupid shit. He's
yeah,
done a lot of stupid shit, but that doesn't negate all the good he
right.
did.
Well, just like
It can't. You know what I
well,
mean?
and just like Booker T said, Booker T had a good point because Booker T and his brother Stevie Ray still support Hogan. They
Hmm.
still talk Hogan up, even though what he said they didn't
Yeah,
like that. But he's the one that got them their push. He went to the people, the powers of be, and said, "Hey, you need to
yeah.
push them," and they did. Um, from
Kamala. How many
what Booker
times
T
he
said,
he went to bat for Kamala and stuff like that, you know,
yeah,
during the 80s and 90s, getting him more money when he found out how little Kamala made on a paycheck, you know?
oh yeah, oh yeah. But for what Booker T said, he said if you put a microphone or you hit a microphone or record any of us in our home where we're vulnerable and nobody thinks we're listening,
Yep.
any one of us is going to say something really bad like that at some
Yep.
time when we're alone.
We've
He
all
said
said
it doesn't
stupid
matter.
shit when no one's around, dude. And
And
anyone who says that they haven't, well, I'm not gonna believe you. We've all said it,
like,
you know.
exactly, we've all said fucked up shit, and especially if you throw a little bit of alcohol in there, that definitely doesn't help. Um,
He was going through a severe alcohol problem. He was suicidal. His
yeah,
wife was taking him for every penny. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
hmm,
He wasn't, you know, getting along with his daughter and you know her music career. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I think his death probably bummed me out the most this year.
yeah,
Probably because it reminded me of the times I spent with my dad. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And you
right,
know, I'm now taking my daughter out to wrestling shows. And that's
mhm,
like our bond now is like the bond I had with my dad, watching
yeah,
wrestling growing up, me and my daughter now have. And when he went, I'm just like, that's just another chapter of my life that's
yeah.
permanently closed. Like my dad's been gone since 2021. And then like when Hogan passed, and then of course you can say what you want about WWE when they do their tributes. Their tributes are fucking home runs. I teared up when they did that tribute on Raw. You know, with that song and everything, it was perfect. And that just it just hit me big time because again, that's just another chapter of me and my dad that's closed forever. And it's just like
Yeah,
growing up. You know, a lot of these times, you know, we're getting old, Keith. A lot of our heroes and a lot of our favorites are going, and
that's the problem.
it just sucks. And I'm just like,
If
but then
they're
I
old
also
enough to die, then how old does that make me? You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
It's
But
like,
I also look at it with Hogan. I also look at it, the dude's not hurting anymore. You ever see him try to walk after how many back surgeries, hip surgeries, knee surgeries? And he faked it for all the kids, he faked it for all the fans. But when you see like, you know, him picking up his son because his son was DUI and stuff like that, he's walking with a cane to talk to the
yeah,
police officers. And Jimmy Hart he's got to brace himself on Jimmy Hart just to take pictures with the fans, you know, when they're walking by. You know, that dude was hurting. So,
Derek, oh my God, they filmed Ric Flair right there, TMZ. I don't know if you've seen it, but
mhm.
like that very next day or later on that day or whatever, and he was talking to Ric Flair, and he was like, I know you and Hogan and been really close the last couple of decades and everything, but I just want to know how you're doing. And Flair, immediately, because Flair's an emotional guy anyway,
Yeah.
and he immediately started bawling, and I mean, you could tell that shit was real.
Yeah.
And then like, 2 days later, um, um, Conrad Thompson and Eric Bischoff were on the Bischoff show, and
Mhm.
Bischoff did. And then Nash was on there, and I guess one of the last things Hogan said was, "Make sure Kevin gets saved."
Mhm.
That was one of his last thoughts he had, is make
Mhm.
sure Kevin gets saved, and make sure his soul is right with
Mhm.
God.
Yeah.
And it told, and the person he told this to told Nash that, and
Yeah.
that fucked Nash up because
Oh, I bet.
Nash was like, I was one of Hogan's last thoughts.
Mhm.
He was like, wow. He says all these people talk all this shit about Hogan that didn't know him need to shut the fuck up. You know?
That's what I'm saying, man. It's and I don't give two shits who supports who when it comes to politics
Right.
because both sides are trash. Whether
Right.
you want to admit it or not you, but personal, but whether you want to admit it or
Yeah.
not, both sides are trash, dude.
They
It
are.
doesn't
Obviously.
matter. It doesn't matter. No one cares about us, so it doesn't matter who he supported, in my opinion. It doesn't
Right.
matter to me. Yeah, he said some stuff that he shouldn't have said, very racist remarks. But again, it doesn't negate all the good he did for the kids' charities, for
Right.
this, for that. I hate to say, visiting sick and dying kids in cancer wards and just making their day, when he's, working 6 days a week. And then on the seventh day, he goes and does a make a wish. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
And just for an hour out of his time, he gets on a plane, goes and hangs out with a little kid with cancer for an hour, makes their day. That has nothing, that has no impact, and that's what kind of made me sick when a lot of these people were
Yeah.
celebrating that he was
Yeah.
dead. I get it, the
That,
whole union thing. Well, you know what? Too fucking bad. I'm sorry. It sucks. I get it. He shouldn't have done that either, but you know what? It is what it is. And how long ago was that?
yeah.
Like 83,
That's pretty
84, when Jesse Ventura made the stink about it. It is
Yeah.
what it is. It doesn't negate all the good he did in his,
Yeah.
not just his career, in his life.
Well, it was the same thing with Ozzy, man. A day or two after he died, people were on there talking shit about how years ago him and Sharon didn't get along, and he put his hands on her.
Yeah.
Well, she took care of that. He got his
Mhm.
shit straight, and it shit never happened again because she left him. And
Right.
he was so far on drugs and alcohol. I mean, on their wedding night, he went down to the bar to do something, and he didn't come back that night. Later on, they found him in the laundry in the hotel.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He was just really bad with that shit, but she accepted that from him. And then when he put his hands on her, probably 30 years ago,
Mhm.
or more, she left him, and he told her, "Hey, that will never happen again. I will never blah 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 do this and that I did then. And it never happened again." And
Right.
those two were kind of cute, really. I mean, Sharon Osbourne could be an ass,
They were
definitely.
they were made for each other, dude. That's the thing. They really were.
She saved
They were made for each
his
other.
life. She saved his life because
Yeah.
he when Black Sabbath fired him, he was drinking himself to death,
Yeah.
and she
Yeah.
come there and saved him. So it's just Ozzy. That was the thing. Hogan died the day after Ozzy, the very next day, and I was
Mhm.
already reading from Ozzy because I was a big Sabbath fan, a big Ozzy fan. I grew up. It sounded like Ozzy could die. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
sounds stupid, but it didn't.
Right.
And so when Ozzy died, that killed all of my teenage years and my kid years. A big chunk of them. I hadn't been a big Hogan fan for a long time, but I'd been a big metal fan and all that.
Mhm.
And that hit me emotionally bad. Ozzy
Yeah.
did, and then I was still so screwed up from Ozzy that I didn't have time to really react to Hogan for about a week, and then
Right.
about a week later is when it hit me. It's just too many were hitting all at once, man.
One thing I'll say though, at least Ozzy went out happy. He got to
Yes.
have his concert. You know what? How weird it
Yeah,
was. It
that
kind
was
of
great.
reminded me. It kind of reminded me of when the Ultimate Warrior passed away. Warrior gets into the Hall of Fame. He makes all of his amends. He has that speech, and then he's gone the next day.
Yeah.
Ozzy, he has all this praise. He gets, Sabbath together. He has that fantastic farewell concert, and then
He
he's gone
sounded
with it.
great.
He sounded really, considering how ill he was,
Yeah.
he
He
really
didn't
did
look
a good
good.
job. And then he was gone within, I don't know, a month
Couple
or
weeks.
so.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I think that's what he was waiting for. You know what I
yeah,
mean? They say, just like in Rocky 5, when Mickey's telling Rocky, um, a person dies when they don't got no reason to be here anymore.
mhm,
You know what I mean? When they don't got nothing left to do, and they don't got no one left to be here for, or whatever. Is when they let go. And
mhm,
I think he had done everything he wanted to do. He wanted to say goodbye to his fans,
mhm.
and that's what he did that night.
And I'm happy it happened in England when it did. He was home.
Yes, right there where him and Sabbath started, right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was very cool. Um, Michael Madsen also, man, I liked Michael Madsen. My mom had a crush on Michael Madsen.
Really?
He passed for many years, but she thought he was cute as hell. She just
Yeah.
something about his swagger. She really liked him.
It was his attitude. It was his attitude. Before he got really into the drugs and the booze and stuff, and it aged him good 20,
Mhm.
30 years. Look at him, dude. Look at him as Mr. Blonde. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. He's a
We
small motherfucker.
we'd date him. You know what I mean? He was just that
Yeah.
cool because that's the thing. He wasn't just a good looking dude. He had that swagger. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just it's in the trailer. You know when he points to the camera and does that, and he winks his eye, or it's just that little. You know, you gonna bark all day, little doggy, or are you gonna bite? You know, you believe that. Just a simple line like that. But he also had this persona of a dude that you just didn't want to fuck with. You know what I mean? On
Yeah.
screen and off. He had this legitimate tough guy image and feel.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he was one of Tarantino's go-to guys. I loved him. I can't think of his character's name off the top of my head. In Kill Bill. Butch? There's no Butch was Bruce Willis.
Bud.
Bud, thank you. With the cowboy hat and everything.
Mhm.
And he took a role which is pretty much it was going to be a nothing role and
Yeah.
made it great. That scene with him out in the trailer park with the bride,
Yeah.
fucking fantastic.
But something he used to do in practically every role, all of his good roles anyway, that I loved, is when somebody would say something. You know, he was so condescending. When somebody would say something to him that was insulting or something, he would just laugh. He would just do that big laugh. You know, just yeah. You know what I mean? Funny.
Yeah, it doesn't affect him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't affect him.
He did the same thing with Uma Thurman. You know, when she's laying there, and it's after he shot her full of buckshot, and she's or whatever, and she's laying there and she's threatening him, and he's just laughing. You know, and he tells her to stop fucking around. You know, he's like, you're going underground. He said, now I can either give you this flashlight or I can spray all that. I can empty this whole can in your fucking eyes, and you'll be blind. But either way, you're going under the ground tonight.
Yeah.
And that was so threatening, man. It gives you chills. You know what I mean? He could really.
What was great about him is because he did a lot of adult roles, a lot of violent roles, gangster shit. But he also wasn't against doing family films too. I remember growing up and watching him like in the Free Willy movies with Lori Petty and just other Disney movies, and he still brought that little bit of toughness to it. You know what I mean? Which was needed at the time in the 90s. And I don't want to say I wasn't shocked when he went because I knew he had a severe alcohol problem. But I was kind of shocked because it's just one of those things that just out of the blue. You turn on your phone, Michael Madsen's gone. And we're big fans of Virginia from Candyman and stuff like that. So she was the first thing I thought of when he passed. Because I guess they were really, really close siblings.
Yeah. Did they ever do anything together?
I don't think so. To my knowledge, no.
Isn't that crazy? Because I mean, it's weird. They were siblings. I don't know if they both had both parents the same. You know what I mean? I don't know if they were full siblings, half siblings, or what. But they didn't look alike. But like I knew her long before I knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
So when I seen it, I didn't put two and two together for a couple of years, and I found out that they were siblings, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool because I like both of them. You know?
Yeah.
He was more versatile.
Mm-hmm.
He had a charisma to him that she doesn't have, but she's cool, But
she's really cool. She's got like a dignified look, you know what I mean? Prim, proper. Yeah. She's beautiful. She looks like a porcelain doll. And Michael, he's got that suaveness, but he has that tough look. Like, and he's got that weathered look to him. Like he's been through some shit. You know what I mean? And he brought that to his roles.
That bad boy roughness,
And he, and as he, he always had that, that raspy voice. He's got a little bit of that like whiskey voice. You know what I mean? Yes. Or the 3 packs a day type of thing before he shot the film type of thing. He had that little bit of the rasp to him, but it added to his toughness.
Yeah.
And he's also the type of guy, he'll fucking cut off a cop's ear, and then the next time you see him, he's just, sitting there drinking a soda. You know what I mean? Because it's Tuesday. You know what I mean? It's just everyday thing. He was just so damn cool.
That movie was loaded with great actors, but he's the only one that could have played Mr. Black. You know what I mean? He's the only one that could have pulled that off to the extent that he pulled it off. I cite him as being responsible for a huge percentage of the success of that film.
Oh yeah, he was the coolest of them all. Mr. Blonde,
And
everyone wanted to be Mr. Blonde. No one gave a shit about Mr. Pink. We definitely didn't give a shit about Mr. Brown. You know, Tim Roth was
yeah,
good. Harvey Keitel was great as Mr. White, but we all wanted to be Mr. Blonde. You know
yeah,
what I mean? That's the thing. That's a big difference. And these are awful people. These are sick individuals,
yeah,
but Mr.
yes.
Blonde was cooler than hell. You know what I mean?
And he was the sickest of all of them. You know what I
Yes, he
mean?
was.
He was so sick the others wanted to go against him. You know,
He
it's
didn't
like
have to cut. He didn't have to cut that cop's ear off. He just did it because he was bored waiting for the guys to come back. He was bored waiting for Chris Penn to show up. You know, so
because he could,
I'll get my rocks off torturing this poor guy.
because he could. Yep, that's
Yep,
exactly right.
yep.
And it's just yeah, the guy begged him and begged him, and he took the guy, he cut the guy's ear off, and he held it up to him, was talking in it and shit. It was
Yeah,
like, oh my god.
just rubbing salt into that wound. You know what I mean? Just poking at that poor kid. You
He
know.
said that they said that he improvised a lot of that, like when he takes the ear and brings it up to his mouth and he's talking to it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he improvised that.
Yeah, and that says a lot because Tarantino does not like people to improvise. He's that anal about his scripts. He says a
Yeah.
writer writes, an actor acts. He says the only ones that he would allow to ad lib, he only allows Uma, and he only allows Samuel L. Jackson. He said that's it.
Right.
Everybody else, you say what I wrote. You know what I mean? Unless it's like a little word here or there. He says he
Right.
hates when actors ad lib on his films. So that says a
Yeah.
lot if he let Michael do something like that and he kept it in.
On his first film, even yeah,
Yeah.
because you know he's got a lot more successful over the years, but he's always been very anal about his work. That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
with True Romance, you know he claims it, he wrote it, but he doesn't like to claim what he wrote of Natural Born Killers because it was
Right.
changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's let me see who else do we have here.
Malcolm Jamal Warner was a shock. I grew up
Yeah.
watching the Cosby Show.
So
And
did I. That show just was full of all these people from Cosby just keep shocking me.
And that was just what, an accidental drowning. Something like that. And
Yeah.
that was, I think that's what started off. It was like that week. It was Malcolm, and then it was Ozzy, and then it was Hogan.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, that's another part of my childhood gone. I mean, you know, Malcolm, he's still been a working actor. I mean, he was in a couple seasons of like American Horror Story and stuff like that. He had a podcast and a radio show, but he was a big part of a lot of people's childhood. And say what you want about Bill Cosby, the Cosby Show was it's benchmark sitcom. You know what I mean? It was a standard bearer. It broke a lot of ground. It was just amazing show. Well written, well acted.
Hilarious. Cosby himself was fucking hilarious, man. I can recite a lot of I've seen it so many times. I can recite half of that routine because I've watched it so many times. It is pretty, you know, and it's great and clean. You know what I mean? He never got dirty during his stand up. He was able to do that and make it so funny without being dirty. You know what I mean?
Right.
That takes a lot of skill.
Yeah. It was just a nice, wholesome show. And yeah, that I know that one hit my wife hard because she grew up watching the Cosby Show when we first started dating. One of our things before we went to bed is the Cosby Show always played on like Nick at Night. And we played a game. She could always tell you what the episode was within the first 30 seconds. She loved the show that much. And she was pretty affected when Malcolm Jamal Warner died because that was her childhood. You know what I mean?
Well, you just definitely didn't see that one coming because he was young. He's much older than we are.
No, or very early 50s, I think.
Hey, Chris, how you doing? Thanks,
man. Hey, Chris.
I know Chris has got some opinions on it. Me and him have talked a lot about the people who died and stuff. Like he was a huge Hogan fan too.
I know he was affected big time. I know he played the video, and then YouTube being dicks pulled it during you guys' stream. But you know what? I give props to Chris because he literally said before he played it. I remember he said something to the fact like, "I don't give a fuck what people say." He loved Hogan, and like we said, I don't care who he supported. I don't care. Granted, you know what he said wasn't good, but I don't care what he said. It does not negate the good he did.
Yeah,
for millions of people.
Well, what he did for me as a kid is priceless.
Yeah.
You know, you can't put a price on how he made me feel as Hogan when I was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It, it's just I, for 2 or 3 years I was all Hogan. I would go. Matter of fact, in seventh grade, either seventh or eighth grade, I was on a wrestling team. The school wrestling team,
Yeah.
and you know how they have periods like 2 or 3 minutes, and they have like three of those periods. Well, after I kicked the dude's ass all over the mat the first period, and when that whistle, when he blew the whistle, I got up. I was so psyched. I walked around going. I walked around like and got a penalty
You were hulking up?
delaying. I got a penalty for delaying and unsportsmanlike conduct. I lost points and shit for that.
Because you were hulking up?
Yep.
And see, that's the thing, man. And even when he wasn't attempting to, he could have that crowd in the palm of his hand.
Oh yeah.
He goes in the bad guy against Rock, and he leaves the baby face.
That's a
And
great.
it's magic. There's no other way to say it. It was magic. And then when he came back officially, red and yellow, and we've
Yeah.
seen it. When they give
Yeah.
him that 10-minute fucking standing ovation, he hasn't said a
Yeah.
fucking word. They cut to
He's
commercial
fucking
because
wild.
it's going on for so long. They come back and they're still cheering for him. That
He
says a
didn't-
lot.
It's like he genuinely didn't get it. He's looking at him going, "Why?" I mean, you hear him doing that? He just couldn't believe it.
Yeah. And you
Oh,
see him
yeah.
tearing up, man. It's legit.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt so fucking bad when he came out and they booed him with Jimmy Hart at his last appearance. I'm like, come on, guys. I don't care who he's supporting. I don't care if he's there to hawk his beer. It's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Stop. You know how many other those people behind those curtains and people you love have done shitty things or worse?
Look at Triple H. Triple H, he held people down and pulled more political bullshit than about anybody. He's the one that instrumented and instigated the fucking screw job on Bret Hart. It was his brainstorm.
And you know what? It gets me. I hate when Hogan died, and it's one of the main reasons why I don't really fucking use social media anymore, other than Instagram, because Instagram's great. It's just pictures and that's it. You know what I mean? Facebook is fucking stupid. X is pretty fucking stupid. Blue Sky, all that crap. All they kept posting was all these clips and memes of the Iron Sheik saying "fuck the Hulk Hogan." Do you guys not realize how homophobic and disgusting and bad the Iron Sheik really was behind the scenes? Now you're gonna shit on Hulk Hogan for who he supports and what he says, but you're gonna support this dumbass fucking racist crackhead. You know what I mean? Homophobic crackhead. I'm sorry. Homophobia is just as bad as racism. So why does Sheiky Baby, get the pass, but Hogan's bad?
Because he's funny. Because he's funny and people found him funny. The last several years he was alive. That's why.
Yeah, he was a joke. Come on. But it's the hypocrisy, dude. It sucks. It's the hypocrisy.
It is. It's and I think it also has a lot to do with when it comes to Hogan. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that people love to watch you downfall. The higher you go, the more happy they are to watch how far you can fall.
Oh, the world is so negative, man. We feed on the You and me both know that on a personal level. People feed on the negativity, dude. And that's why let's just if we do a video where we're talking shit, that's when we get 20 people in the chat and 200 views and stuff like that. But if you and I are talking about a movie we love, 10, 15 views, you know what I mean, or something like that, it's because people feed on that negativity and they wanted to. Why is it okay that we're all happy for Jake the Snake? You know what I mean? That guy was a piece of shit too. But why does he get a pass? You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
It's just the hypocrisy, and I think it's a lot of it was just fucking political, and that's just not right.
Yeah. Well, they knew that he was the biggest wrestler in the world, and that wrestling just would not be where it is today. Period.
Oh, no.
Without him, it would have never got to the pinnacle to begin with. And like I said, the higher you go, the lower they like for you to fall.
If it wasn't for Hogan agreeing to turn heel at Bash at the Beach, there would have been no Attitude Era. there would have been no Monday Night Wars. Wrestling would not have had that boom in the late 90s to the early 2000s if he didn't turn heel. And then you had all these people saying, "Oh, John Cena's heel turn was the biggest heel turn in the fucking history." Kiss my ass! It didn't even compare to Hogan's. You know what I mean?
It failed. Is what it did.
That's why he's a babyface again. He was a heel for what, 3 months?
Stop. They dropped it in one night. Basically, they pretty much dropped that in one night. Are you a fan of the Godfather films, or Looking for Mr. Goodbar, or anything like that?
Are you talking about Diane Keaton?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a couple of her romantic comedies, and I the Godfather trilogy is one of those movies that just has escaped me over the years, just for some reason, because I know it's one of those movies I got to be in the right mood to watch, because I got to sit down and I got to focus, and that's just hard to do right now with me. Right. But she always seemed, I loved her. You know what? I think it was The First Wives Club, that movie. That's a fun movie, man. You know what I mean? With all the first wives are divorced and their new husbands are having, all the trophy wives, and she's with Goldie Hawn, and I can't think of who the third one was. That was a fun movie, and she just seemed like a sweetheart. That's what sucks.
She was so good too. She Looking for Mr. Goodbar is based on a true story from like the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe the Miranda law was created maybe because of that case, partly because of that case, and she plays the woman in it that did this, and she gets murdered by what they call the Goodbar Killer.
Uh-huh.
The sequel to that is called something Goodbar Killer, and it stars George Segal.
Okay.
But she's in it with two very young actors that ended up becoming a lot more later, which was Tom Berenger.
Oh, really? Okay.
And oh my God, what's his fucking name? From Officer and Gentleman and Pretty Woman.
Richard Gere.
Gere. Yeah, and he's in it too. They're both of them are like 18, 19 years old. And
no shit.
And like I say, it's based on a true story. And if you're getting a chance to watch Looking for Mr. Goodbar with Diane Keaton, watch it. Definitely.
Okay.
I definitely recommend it for at least one watch.
It's just the thing. She looked like a nice lady. She's always smiling in these pictures. She was always nice to her fans. She one of the few people her age, celebrity wise, that was on social media and was just bringing light to people's lives. You know what I mean? She reminded like Leslie Jordan. He was in Jason Goes to Hell, and he was on Will and Grace. Just this little 5 foot, nothing bundle of dynamite, and he brought so much joy into people's lives. And I'm not gonna lie, I cried when he passed away. Diane Keaton, she just seemed like a sweet person, and that was a bum. You know what she reminded me of? Well, we can jump to it. Let's jump to it, because Ace Frehley just recently died.
Yeah.
And the reason why I want to compare her to Ace is, Ace more for the music. Like I'm a general Kiss fan. I'm not a Kiss Army member. I'm a general Kiss fan. And I said it on your post, and I said it on your video when you showed that interview. It always seemed like Gene and Paul were like the curmudgeons. They're there. They're all there. It's just business. Let's get the interview done. We'll maybe have a few laughs, but let's just do it and get out. Peter Criss, and especially Ace, they were the life of the party. They were the fun. And that is my go-to, like even before he passed, that was always one of my go-to interviews. If I'm bored and I need a laugh, you have this big giant spaceman sitting next to a man painted like a cat, and you can't take them seriously. And he knew that. He's like, we're clowns. And who I don't remember who the interviewer was, but he's telling Tom Snyder, and Tom was nearly pissing himself laughing.
Oh, I know.
Tom is so serious all the time. He was. And Ace, he's trying to, what I'm talking about. He's telling Ace to explain his outfit. And he's like, oh, you're kind of like a spaceman, right? No, I'm actually a plumber. And then that laugh, that it's not just a laugh, it's like a guffaw. You know what I mean? Like you can't help it. Yeah. He starts losing his shit. And then Tom says, I got some pipe in the back where you can work on. Oh, tell me about it. And then he just loses it. Like he nearly falls out of his fucking chair. And you see him laughing, Tom laughing, Peter laughing. And then fucking Gene and Paul are just kind of sitting there with sticks up their butt.
Gene almost bust out laughing a couple times. Paul had this annoyed smile, and Gene kind of did too. But there's a couple times where Gene actually laughed.
Yeah,
he fucking knew that shit was funny.
Yeah.
Ace cracked himself up because when he says, "Tell me about it," he laughs, and then you can see where he thinks about it for a second, and then he throws himself back in the seat because he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, I just fucking said that."
I just made a gay joke on national TV, while I'm dressed like a clown. But he was so much. He was such a smart man too. You know what I mean? The guy behind it, he loved technology and space and all that stuff. That's why he's the spaceman. You know what I mean?
He wanted to go up in the shuttle. That was one of his dreams.
Yeah, and he was just a great interview. And I hated the fact that because Gene was always clean, no drugs, no alcohol. I just hate how Gene always looked down on Ace because Ace had his drug and his alcohol problems. And it just sucked because he who has the first sin, cast the first stone or whatever. He who is without sin cast the first stone. Gene, you know what? You're a prick. You don't need to look down on a guy who has his problems. He's still bringing this fun, this life to the party. You know what I mean? And that's one reason. That's one reason why I love that interview, but I don't, because it's like you could tell Gene didn't want to laugh. He wanted to stay serious, and like you said, he cracked that smile and chuckled because he couldn't fucking help it. Because that's just what Ace brought to the party, and that's why I love when him and Peter were so close. Him and Peter Criss, because they got it. They got it.
They had to be at one bunch team because Gene and Paul were such a formidable team. They had to form a team. One of them themselves couldn't handle it. They had to get. They had to have each other.
You had two people that were all about the money, and then you had two people that were all about the music and the fun.
Yeah, they were the rock stars. Those are who acted like the rock stars.
Exactly.
Well, you talk about casting the stone. I don't know if you've seen that post I put on there like a month or so ago, where it says, "If you ever run into or meet he who never makes a mistake, please let me know, for I want to see what perfection looks like."
Yeah. No one on God's green earth can say they have never made a mistake in their lives.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's the point that I was trying to make. I was trying to say, hey, if you ever meet somebody who's perfect, let me know, because I want to see what that shit looks like. You know what I mean? I want to see what it.
That person doesn't exist, and then that's why it as much as it sucks this year. I mean, me, I've lost a lot of people in my personal life.
Yeah,
Godspeed to Stephen. You know what I mean? Who just recently passed. And that's it. Just I've lost 5 people in my life in around 365 days, and then you got all these celebrities passing, and it just that's why sometimes I make those posts on Facebook or whatever, or not on YouTube. It's not worth it, guys. That's why we're not going to speak too much on it. You and I, we had a scuffle, and look at us now. It's not worth it, dude. It's not worth it. Shit happens. You wipe the shit off and you move on. And look at us now. Did you really think we'd be streaming again? You know what I mean?
No, I never really counted it out until toward somewhere about the middle part, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, shit.
Yeah.
But that's why I just left it alone. You left me alone, and then finally, we ended up talking.
And that's why I like to tell people. I said, you know what? Unless you're I'll say this: these views represent me and not anyone else. Unless you're a specific fucking asshole who just likes to make people miserable, or you're that type of asshole, and I'll leave it at that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Life is, if you haven't learned now, life is so fucking short. Keith, I tell you, I can go out for the mail tomorrow and get hit by a fucking car.
Exactly.
You never know. It's not worth it. You've seen American History X. What Edward Furlong says it at the end: hate's baggage. It's not worth it. Not worth it.
He makes those mistakes and gets his brother going in the wrong direction. And then when he gets out, he tries to straighten him out. He finds out that he's a day late because there's already been friction, and then he goes through the rest of his life, blaming himself because he thinks he was responsible for that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just, if that's any good that can come out of seeing all these celebrities pass, is just you could see how fragile it is. You could be someone that was Gene Hackman's age in his 90s. Ace, I think, was 76.
74.
Malcolm 74. Malcolm Jamal Warner was in his early 50s, dude.
Yeah.
And that was
just
an
like me.
accidental. Well, Ace's was accidental too. He slipped and fell.
Yep. It looked like he was gonna be okay, but then all of a sudden they noticed he had a brain bleed.
He had a brain bleed, and there's
that's
no
bad.
coming back. Once it's a brain bleed, it's get the family together.
Especially when you're the age he was. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just, remember, that's my second YouTube friend that I've lost. Remember about a year and a half, 2 years ago, Dave from Savage Zombie Reviews died because
I remember that. Yeah, I wasn't too close with him. I was just getting to know him. And
he's
I remember
really nice guy too. Both of those guys, that's what's funny. Both of those dudes, it doesn't matter. No matter what I was going through or whatever, they both never had any rejection. They never had any judgment. They didn't care what anybody else said. They still supported me, and it didn't matter. Neither one of them ever had a negative word to say about anyone ever.
Mm-hmm. It's because they knew it wasn't worth it. That's the thing. They knew there was no point.
Yeah, and it's funny that just like I said on the on the stream that I recorded before I replayed my watch the watch along with Stephen and Christine.
Mm-hmm.
I said that 5 minutes there to begin with. I don't know if you caught that, but I was on there talking about that, and I was just talking about it seems like we lose all the good ones and all the assholes. I said probably me, present company included, or get to stick around. So it's like, damn.
Well, I said this because I did sign the guest book for Stephen's obituary, and I'm not a religious man. I'm kind of struggling with it at the moment, but I did say if God called him that early in his life, because he was early 50s, Stephen was, the obituary's out there, so I can say that. I said there's a good reason why he did to call him that early. I mean, he needed him for a reason. Yeah.
I didn't see that. Where is that? I asked somebody the other day.
It's on his. If you go to the Craven Something Scary, Instagram, there's a picture of Stephen, and then there's a link at the bottom that'll say his obituary.
Okay, yeah, because I want to sign that too. You know what I mean? I was one of the first people to do the tribute to him, and then they said we're talking about this obituary. I was like, "Where is that?" And nobody answered me.
Yeah, go to the Craven Something Scary Instagram page. It'll have the link to the funeral home's website, and then with guest books on funeral homes, they stay open forever, so you can sign that.
Dave, I think Dave was only in his early to mid 30s, and he suffered an aneurysm just out of nowhere.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. Life's too precious for bringing all that baggage. It's not fucking worth it.
Yeah. Another Hollywood legend. I don't know how much you like the classics, but Robert Redford, of course, also died. He's definitely a Hollywood legend. He's definitely a Hollywood A-lister.
The Natural, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Just I knew him and his relationship with Paul Newman, but he was multi-generational too because he was in the MCU.
And
with the Captain America movies.
The big director too. He was like an Oscar winner for directing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of directing, you got David Lynch. That made he was an odd director, but he's one of those directors that everyone is going to at least find one film from him that they like.
See, Lynch. Oh, I've seen some weird shit. I hated Lost Highway because I didn't get it. I hated I just didn't like Wild at Heart because that made me uncomfortable. You know what I mean? In a lot of scenes, because Lynch liked to push buttons. He liked to push boundaries. I didn't understand fucking Mulholland Drive. I've seen it. I haven't seen that yet. I'm doing that this month because I'm doing oddball movies.
I don't like it, but most people do. Most people do. I think you probably will.
I'm gonna give it a shot, but I'll say this: when he's not David Lynch and when he's doing normal films, one of the best movies I've seen in the last 10 years, I finally sat down and watched was The Elephant Man. That movie is fucking beautiful. and sad at the
Yes.
same time. So when he can do like straight drama and not do this weird fucking shit, like we did get through. Me and my wife did enjoy the first season of Twin Peaks, but then the second season it really gets fucking Looney Tunes. So we're like, we can't. You know what I mean? But
Right.
The Elephant Man is such a sad, beautiful film.
Yeah.
And there is
Like,
another movie. Have you ever heard of The Straight Story?
I don't think so.
It's David Lynch. It's Disney, and it's rated G. It's based on a true story. Who is the actor that plays the sheriff in Misery? Richard Farnsworth, I believe is his name. Okay. Okay, but you know who I'm talking about. You've seen Misery. He's the sheriff. Okay. It's a true story.
It's all playful with his wife. Yeah.
It's based on a true story about a man who can barely see, so he can't get a driver's license. And his brother, played by Harry Dean Stanton, he just either had a stroke or like this is like late Harry Dean Stanton. This is before he passed. So like he's aged. And Harry Dean Stanton has had a stroke or something like ailment. So and he's better. He's walking around, but he can go at any time. And him and his brother, they're at odds, and they live all the way across the United States with each other. And Richard can't see, so he can't get a driver's license. He's also taking care of his mentally challenged daughter, played by Sissy Spacek, who Sissy has never given a bad performance in her life. And he since he cannot get a license, so he cannot legally drive a car, he gets on a motherfucking riding lawnmower and drives across country at like 10 miles an hour. And it's one of these, I'm going from place to place, meeting new people, helping their lives type of movies until he gets to meet his brother and make amends. And it's a David Lynch movie, dude. It is amazing. It is tear-jerking. It is really, really good, and I highly recommend it. But it's for Disney, and it's rated G, and it's directed by fucking David Lynch. So that shows how talented he is. He can do the wild shit. He can do Wild at Heart and fucking have Laura Dern almost get, destroyed by a crazy ass Willem Dafoe and his fucked up teeth. You know what I mean? Or he can do these excruciatingly beautiful movies like The Elephant Man, or he can fucking bring in, Dennis Hopper and have him fuck a girl with scissors and blue velvet, or he can do something like The Straight Story. And even though I didn't get a lot of Lynch's stuff, I didn't get the symbolism and all that stuff, I respected that man so much as a filmmaker because of all the multi different things he could do, the different styles. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Like I say, he may be one of the most versatile. He may have been one of the most versatile directors and filmmakers, because like I said, everything, even the ones that are strange and off the wall, they're all different from each other. Still, they're all different. Like, wait till you see Eraserhead. You talking about off the fucking wall.
Really?
Whoa, man. Whoa.
All I know is that, like, me, I'm a Crispin Glover cultist. I love anything with Crispin Glover. That's one of his favorite movies, which I've heard explains a lot. You know what I mean? So,
yes.
So I'm willing to give it a shot.
That's only. I mean, there's a few others, ones I don't know so well, but I didn't realize that George Foreman had died in 2025 too. Must have been at the very beginning. Yes. And George Foreman, you know what I mean? That's a guy I didn't see his beginning. The rope-a-dope that Muhammad Ali pulled on him when he should have beat Ali, but Ali outsmarted him because he was a power puncher. And later, but I caught his second go around when he came back bald-headed and heavier. When he talked about the way he trained was eating cheeseburgers, and all of his kids were named George.
Yep, I remember that because I was young at that time, because he was big because he had a fucking Friday night sitcom, where he was, the dad with all the kids named George. He had the George Foreman grill. He had there was a Super Nintendo game called George Foreman Boxing that I played the shit out of. He was just big, and you know what I liked? He was just like a big cuddly teddy bear. You know what I mean? He was making all these appearances on all these talk shows, and he just seemed like a cool fucking dude to be around. Like Diane Keaton, just like a nice person that nowadays is sadly fucking missed, because nowadays you look at somebody wrong, you get punched in the fucking lip.
Yeah.
Or worse.
In his 40s, he became heavyweight champion of the world again, which
Yeah.
is that you talk about an accomplishment. And they said, you know, because his body, when in the 70s, he was built. You know what I mean? He was he had, you know, but you know, they asked him what kind of training. And he's I eat cheeseburgers, and he had stopped that toward the end of his life, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think he,
Well,
you know, he realized. But
the thing about him though, Keith, is, you know, he may have been kind of doughy. He didn't lose that power though.
oh hell no, he didn't.
That he didn't. I still wouldn't want to get hit by that motherfucker.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Pleasant guy, man.
He did. He just seemed like a sweetheart. Kind of like, you know, it's like how Shaq and Charles Barkley are now. You know, they were hard asses on the court, but now they're just two goofy siblings picking at each other. You know what I mean? I love watching those two banter. You know, because they're just fun loving guys. That's how George Foreman came off.
Yeah. Barkley, he had a really big mouth over his career.
Oh yeah, he was a big shit talker.
But they said Shaq's always been a sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't get Kobe, you know, because Kobe was kind of like Jordan out there. He wasn't the nicest guy out on the court. And he just wanted to be his team, and you know, he wanted it to be held by him. And so that's why Shaq left went to the Miami Heat. You know, I was big in the NBA back in the day, so around those eras. So yeah, I remember real clean. And he just said that, you know, he basically said that Kobe was a dick. He didn't like the way he acted and the way he treated people.
Yeah.
You know, he said that's why it started where they didn't get along, because he disagreed with the way he talked to people and everything.
Yeah.
He was real respectful and didn't understand and didn't agree with being disrespectful with people, and Kobe did. Difference. Now, Kobe was off the court, he didn't.
Right.
When he was younger, he was. As he got older, he became a nicer man before he died.
But see, that's one thing I always love about Shaq. Like, you always see, what is it, LeBron? He's an asshole. Like, you'll have the little kid, you just asking for an autograph. He's got just take 10 seconds to sign a little kid's autograph. It's not like it's an adult, you know what I mean? But then you have that one video of the one kid running up to Shaq while Shaq's like giving an interview. Security guard takes him away, and Shaq just looks at the kid. And he just like takes the picture with him and stuff like that. It takes 30 seconds out of your day. I'm not talking about, like, you know, because, you know, WWE has all those problems with the fans fucking waiting for them at airports and shit like that. This was just a little kid. You just take two seconds out of your day to sign your fucking name. You know what I mean? Or take a selfie. And that's how George Foreman seemed like to me. He just seemed like a genuinely nice fucking dude.
Well, and they say Hogan was like that too. They say that Hogan, if he's going to the airport or whatever, Jimmy Hart said he never turned anybody down for an autograph.
Nope. He always said in interviews, because people always asked, where does Hogan stop and where does Terry begin? He says, if I'm inside my house, I'm Terry. If I'm outside, even if I'm getting the mail and the mailman gives me the mail, I'll say, thank you, brother. You know what I mean? he says, I'm on. And he didn't have to do that. That, like I said, that motherfucker was in so much pain,
right?
Walking through airports, and he was one of the, like, to a lesser extent, he's like Michael Jackson. He couldn't avoid it. He can't hide. He can't be like, you know, the Undertaker. You know, like, say the Undertaker could put on a ball cap and some shades and like a big coat. You know what I mean? Hulk Hogan has to live the gimmick. He can't shave the mustache. He's gonna have the do-rag. You know what I mean? He can't hide.
Yeah.
You know, like Tom Cruise. If Tom Cruise wants to, he can put on a ball cap and shades and ride the subway. Hulk Hogan can't do that.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those don't judge a person unless you've walked a mile. You know, type
shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know. You know, it must have been really, especially in the 80s and early 90s. It must have been really hard to be Hulk Hogan.
Could you imagine trying to have, you know, that 1 year you're finally there for your children's birthday and you want to take them out to dinner?
Yeah.
And it's not about them. And, you know, most fans are respectful, like when they're eating dinner. Yeah. Some people be like, they will walk up there, and if he'll, you know, a lot of wrestlers will say, you know, maybe when I'm done eating dinner, I will gladly sign something. And then you'll still get that fan who says, well, fuck you, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what Ace Frehley said. He said there's two instances where I'm gonna get pissed if you come up and ask me for an autograph. When I'm taking a piss, when I'm in the bathroom taking a piss, and when I'm sitting down having dinner.
Yep.
That's the only time that I'm gonna feel it. He said because that's just rude.
Yep. That's why a lot of people won't sign autographs anymore. Dave Grohl says he'll never do it again. Ringo Starr refuses, like he won't sign anything ever again because he just doesn't buy the disrespect and he doesn't put up with it. And he knows 9 times out of 10, you're just going to fucking sell it on eBay anyways.
Yeah, that's what sucks about it. That's why a lot of them stop because of that shit.
And that's why a lot of them only sign autographs if they're allowed to personalize it.
Yeah,
because Keith isn't going to buy an autograph that says to Eric. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So they'll only do it if they'll personalize it.
Or if it's like where you go and pay $50 or $100, you know what I mean? Like meet and greet type shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like here, I just want to show this. Definitely get this off. This is a Kiss Destroyer, and it is signed by Ace Frehley. I don't know if you can see it.
A little bit, yeah. Right there, where it said right over the Kiss. Yeah, and right over Ace's head. Yep.
Yeah, it's just he made he drew the Ace card there.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question. You know the music more than me. What was it about Ace that you loved as a musician, Keith?
Oh man, he had this devil may care attitude, man. He just, and you could see it. Some people complain that he played sloppy. No, that was just his style. He had a style about him that was very unique. The great ones, when you hear him play, you can tell it's them playing, and it's just their style. The way he loved rock and roll, and the way he didn't care, even when heavy metal and everything was in the shift and throughout the early to mid 90s into the later 90s, he still traveled around and he still played the clubs. This is the guy that played stadiums throughout the 70s in the biggest band. Younger people don't understand how big Kiss was in the mid to late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were fucking huge. I mean, they were like, the biggest band in the world, easy.
Yeah.
And for a while, I mean, to the point to where they became more than just a band.
Mm-hmm.
For him to go from that to having to play in clubs and still never missing and still going and still loving rock like he always did.
I was gonna say you could tell he was one of those guys that even though if he's in this podunk bar, it didn't matter if it was 500 or 50 people type of thing.
Yeah, because he just loved to play guitar and he loved, he's considered one of the greatest of all time. Technically, probably not as good as Stevie Ray Vaughan or Yngwie Malmsteen or whatever, but as style goes, or having his own style and swagger, there isn't any better.
Okay. How was he as a solo artist?
Really good.
Was he?
Do you remember in the late 70s when they were gonna? I don't know if you heard the story, but they were talking about breaking up. Well, Paul Stanley said, "Hey, you guys want to make solo albums? Let's not break up."
Yeah, each one of them did a solo album. Yeah,
let's make a solo album. So they all made all the solo albums. They look like this, except for with each of their faces on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is just like my shirt that I'm wearing.
Yep.
His album is great. All the other threes, yes,
not so much.
Any rock fan, and they say Ace's solo album is fantastic, and the others are at best.
Yeah, really.
His is fantastic. He's the only one that had a successful solo career. It was called Frehley's Comet.
Yes, because I was doing a little bit of research on him, and I am happy that he was able to get a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he was able to go into the Hall of Fame before he passed.
Right.
Because the criteria for that fucking Hall of Fame is just insane, dude. How you see some people that are still not in it, that have just finally gotten in it, and people that don't fucking deserve to be in it, Yeah,
right.
Like I've never understood if it's still called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, why are there rap artists in it? You know what I mean? Why are there pop stars in it?
That's what Gene Simmons said. He said that people like Run DMC didn't belong in there because they're not rock and roll.
No, either have their own, rap and R&B and all that stuff, have that own Hall of Fame, or change the name of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I always go back to like the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, it's a sham. The WWE Hall of Fame is a fucking sham. But now that they're putting in, Sting was put in it. Motherfucker, he had no WWE career, and the 2 matches he wrestled, he lost.
Right.
Change it to like Titan Sports Hall of Fame or something like that. Change the name so that way it doesn't sound so hokey when you're bringing in, WCW guys. Or Bushwhackers don't belong in there for their WWE career, but when they were the fucking sheep herders, absolutely. But no one really knows that, so change it. So I think they should change the name of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to just the Music Hall of Fame, even if it's something generic like that.
Yeah,
Music,
or like you said, give them the just like give them their own R&B slash rap. You know what I mean? Type. Mm-hmm. They should have one. I don't know why they don't.
Exactly. Like, so that way Run DMC can have their time to shine. Anybody, Snoop Dogg can have his time to shine. Belle Biv DeVoe can have their time to shine. Anybody. Even the fucking Fat Boys, you know what I mean? Say what you want about the Fat Boys, they were big. You know what I mean? Remember when they were big for a while? They can have their exactly Biz Markie, all that stuff, or change it to like the Music Hall of Fame, and every year induct somebody to a different wing. You know what I mean? Here's your heavy metal. Here's your hard rock. Here's your R&B and rap. Here's your pop. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Biz Markie, I forgot about it. Baby, you got what I
need. And he's playing the fucking piano, and he's got the goddamn Beethoven wig on or whatever it is.
I forgot about him.
Yeah.
I need. And he's, oh my God, he has to be doing that on purpose. He's not,
he is, because he said, honestly, he said legit, the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm tone deaf. He's 100% tone deaf. And look what it did. He was he was everywhere for a while because of that one fucking song.
That was a big song. Yeah, that was a big song. Just like Tone Loc with the Wild Thing and all this, and
Funky Cole Medina,
Young MC, yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. They should have. You know what I mean? People like shit. You'd have tons by now. Beastie Boys, Run DMC, the NWA, Ice Cube by himself, even. You'd have, God, LL Cool J. You'd have tons of people.
Ice-T.
Definitely.
Ice-T, his solo career, and when he's with Body Count. You know what I mean? Body Count's a lot different than Ice-T songs if people don't know. Big fucking difference.
They're heavy. They're rock. They're heavy rock.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they don't. You know what I mean? That's why they're having to put them in with the Rock Hall of Fame, because they deserve that recognition, and they don't have any place to go with it.
Yeah, well, then that's something they just need to adjust and figure something out, because it's not fair, I don't think, to people that deserve to still to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that haven't, because they're being pushed to the side. There's no disrespect, but they're being pushed to the side for an R&B star. Or fucking, I don't know if they allow country in there. I think country has its own Hall of Fame. I'm not sure, but still, you know what I mean? Someone's got to take a fucking back seat.
Yeah, because it seems like God, there's somebody that's still not in there. But I mean, people like Foreigner and shit just went in.
Is Maiden in there yet? Iron Maiden?
I don't think so, and that's crazy.
Shit, 1980, I think, was their first album. Come on.
They had 2 different singers. They've got several albums. They're still doing world tours.
They're still. It's just amazing. God, Bruce Dickinson. I wish I had that man's energy. Just him alone beat throat cancer, and now it's like it's never affected him one bit.
Yeah, I've got his new solo album, the Mandrake Project. Yeah. It's fucking great, man. He's still for 70-some years old. He can still sing like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different. He used to be at 100%. He's still about 95, and 95% of Bruce Dickinson is damn good.
Before COVID hit, I saw them in Chicago on the Book of Souls tour, and people were telling me, they all have their ways of prepping. Nico, the drummer, he just likes to get a little buzz and gets drunk. The other people like to read and listen to music. What Bruce Dickinson does is he gets a map of the stadium that they're in. He'll put on rollerblades and he'll rollerblade around the whole fucking stadium and sing the entire set list. That's his prep.
Yeah.
And that's after beating cancer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The guy's a madman.
If you got heard anything from his new solo album,
Mm-mm.
type up on YouTube, type up Rain on the Graves, and it's Rain on the Grave, and there's another one, Ragnarok, something of Ragnarok. They are
Okay.
great. They're better than shit Maiden's doing now.
Really?
His solo album is better than their last 2 or 3 albums.
Okay. It's been a while. I think the last one I got I think was Book of Souls, which was really good.
It's great. Rain on the Graves is just, it's got this by and the video for it is like a Hammer horror type video. He's doing like a Hammer horror thing in it. Mm-hmm. It's really entertaining.
I hate to say it, when he goes, that's going to be a huge loss to music, man. Yeah.
Definitely. Hey, how you doing? Best Fly Robert Redford performances? Oh shit, I don't know.
I haven't seen enough to be fair, but I loved him in Butch and Sundance. Butch and Sundance.
You got The Way We Were, of course, with Streisand. I didn't realize now, because I hadn't seen Streisand in so long, how fucking pretty she was in the 70s. She was fucking beautiful.
You know who I just realized? I didn't realize who was a gorgeous woman until recently? Meryl Streep. Yeah. I didn't realize how beautiful that woman was. And she's still a looker, you know what I mean, at her age.
And probably the greatest female actress of all time, probably, at least top 3.
She's aged gracefully. She holds herself to a high standard, you know what I mean? But she doesn't come off as a bitch.
And she hasn't Botoxed herself to death either.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah. You know, Streisand was attractive in her day for sure. But man, it's just recently I've been watching some old Meryl Streep movies. Like I just put out, just to kill time, that movie She Devil she did with Roseanne. You know, and I've recently watched Death Becomes Her, because I hate to say it, I think we're going to lose Bruce Willis soon. You know what I mean? And Bruce is hilarious. He's an underrated. Bruce is an underrated comedic actor, and they just keep thinking that he's John McClane. He's so much more than that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And when I found out, because my mom has aphasia, which is what he's got, you know, and it's a speech problem which affects the brain. And just because I keep telling people, just because he was put in a nursing home doesn't mean he's about to go, but. When it gets to the point where they have to be put because the family can't take care of them so much, it's a necessary thing. And I felt so bad for his family, because everybody was shitting on them. Oh, you have the money, you can just hire someone. It ain't that fucking easy unless you've taken care. I have taken care of a person that is disabled.
Right.
That it wears on you.
People like he was just a grouch and he didn't care about his movies he was doing anymore. Come to find out the reason why he was acting that way, and now they all feel like assholes.
Yeah, there's a reason why he did 20 movies in like 3 years, and it didn't whether they sucked or not. And because you know, people were shitting on him because he wore an earpiece so people can feed him his lines. It's because his brain was fucked. You know what I mean? And he was doing it so he can have a nest egg for his family. How do you guys feel now? You know what I mean?
It's like, know what you're talking about before you open up your mouth. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why I felt so bad for Demi Moore and his wife and their children, when everyone was fucking shitting on them. Oh, you're abandoning him. Well, first off, they took care of him for a long fucking time. They did. The family took care of him. And I'll tell you, I've seen what it does. My dad was my mom's caregiver for over 20 years, and I guarantee you that's what helped put him into an early grave. It's the physical toll, the emotional toll, the stress, all that stuff.
The helplessness. You know,
exactly. You know, I'm doing all this, and my loved one is just not getting better. And then all these people were shitting on them. Oh, you have the money. You can do this. Well, yeah, they have the money, so I guarantee he's probably in a good fucking nursing home. Okay, but you know what? He's going to a place where people are trained to take care of people in this situation. Family members are not trained to do it. They've all heard
Right.
the horror stories about the bad homes and this and that. When my dad passed and my mom was put in a nursing home, it was the best decision ever because now she has a life. She has a social life. She's forced to get out of her bed and do crafts. She's made so many friends. Going to a nursing home is not the worst thing in the world.
You just gotta find the
People,
right one. Yeah. You just
exactly,
don't. Yeah, you just gotta look it over. You gotta take your time and make sure. Make sure of it. There is
exactly.
good. Yeah, there
Yeah.
is good one.
So I hate to say it. I hope Bruce doesn't go soon, but
Yeah.
it's just in the back of my mind that it's going to be a matter of time.
All the people we grew up with in sports and in movies and in music, all of them, they're getting to that age where it's just like, damn, it's like that music and everything is going to be done. It's going to be gone. I mean, the music's going to be around, but the people that made it aren't going to be. And it really reminds me that I'm 52 years old. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's like I remember when I was a little kid and Ace was young. What I
Mm-hmm.
mean? He was a young man, and now he's 74 and he died, and it's like that. It really reminds you of your mortality. It really
Yeah,
does.
especially when it's something like it was a complete accident. He fell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was a klutzy guy anyway. He
Mm-hmm.
always fell. That's why the album cover, album covers and different pictures they have where Ace is laying on his back playing guitar and Gina Polar standing over him.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they came up with that spot to begin with.
Oh, really?
Is he would fall? Yeah. So they turned it into something as just a little gimmick on stage.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why. He wrote "Shock Me." I don't know if you heard "Shock Me"
Mm-hmm.
from him. Well, that was the first song he ever actually sang. Um, and because he fell in a concert year or two before, and he fell, and when he fell, he
Mm-hmm.
fell into the wires or something and shocked himself or some shit, and
Really?
that's why he shocked me. Yeah, he
Uh-huh.
he fell a lot, and I guess your balance doesn't get better as you get older. So it's like he was in the studio recording because he was right in the middle of making a new album when he died. Yep, sure was.
That's too bad. It just
Yeah.
again, it just shows, like I said, anytime, man. You can go at any time. So that's why I say always make your amends, man, and just live your life like there is no tomorrow. Because that's why I did that post. Like
I've been trying.
I didn't want to do a post for Steven because I'd already lost two friends, and I did posts and videos on them, and I know you kind of had trepidations about your watch long because you didn't want people to think you were profiting off of it,
Right.
making it about you. And I
Which
did
I
do a
definitely didn't.
right. And that's why I just did a vague post on Instagram, and I just said, hey, just get rid of all the baggage. Treat every day like it's your last. Check in on your friends because your last conversation with them could be your last conversation. You know
Right.
what I mean? And it's again, losing our friends this year and losing all these celebrities. It shows you
Yeah.
you never really fucking know, dude.
That's what I don't want to. I don't argue with people. There's only a couple of people that I've ever known that I don't give two shits about ever making up with.
Right?
I don't. But the rest of them, there's no reason why it can't be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no reason why things can't be cool. Grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not
grow
worth
up.
it. It's not
It's
worth
really
it.
not. What do you got coming up? I know you're starting to slow down a little bit, and you're not doing quite as you don't got your hand eating as many pots as you used to. But what's
I've been doing this for 10 fucking years, man. 10 years back in August. And I'm at the point where it's just kind of run its course. Just doing solo reviews. I'm just, what else can I fucking do? You know what I mean? So,
right?
but this year I am doing theme months. So I have every month is a specific theme of movies. Last month was Stephen King September. So I
Cool.
talked the usual shitty Stephen King movies, but I talked some great ones like Stand By Me. I know you love that one.
Oh yeah.
Stand By Me, I think, is the best adaptation of a Stephen King novel to the screen. And I talked about The Long Walk, which is one of the best movies I have seen in a long fucking time, dude. And this month is Oddball October. So I'm doing weird movies, whether it's a weird concept, whether it's weird characters or weird creatures. I'm jumping back into the Basket Case franchise. So I just uploaded a video on the second Basket Case movies, which is fucking batshit crazy. I will have a video on the Basket Case part 3 in the next couple days. And I think after the end of the new year, because I'm still going to do the theme months. I'm the type of guy, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to make the commitment. Excuse me. I'm also going to throw in like that's why I'm doing Eraserhead. If there ain't nothing more oddball than fucking David Lynch, you know what I mean? And I think I might do because I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I also want to watch and discuss Videodrome because what I've seen of that is fucking weird. You know what I mean?
I hate. I love Cronenberg and his earlier stuff, but for some reason I've just never.
You can just never get it.
I've tried for years, and I try about every 10 years, and I still don't like it. I don't know why.
I think just after next year, the beginning of the year, I think I'm just going to focus on guest spotting, like being on your channel, being on other people's channel when they have me, like Marty on the Trash Picture Show. I'm going to focus on this this fun podcast and a live stream that I'm doing with my friend Melissa every 2 weeks. So every other Wednesday. She's a newbie to horror. She never got into horror growing up. Ooh. And we're jumping in head first. We've had 5 episodes so far, but we've discussed The Substance. That was fucking cool. That was our first episode. Our second episode, and I'm trying to get her into every genre. So we've already done body horror. Then we did zombies, Train to Busan. You ever see Train to Busan?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was a great fucking movie. She had never seen Carrie before, De Palma's Carrie. So we did an episode on that. Eventually we're going to do Chopping Mall because she just heard about it and she's like, killer robots. That sounds fun. So we're going to do stuff like that. And, I'm going to focus on my interview series because I'm tired of doing solo stuff. I like bouncing off of somebody. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's more fun. So I recently, talked to, you were in the chat where I was talking to Insane Lane when a pro wrestler was ending his career next month. Yeah, thank you. And let's see, I'm going to look up my calendar. Next month, I have, where's my calendar? There it is. So next month, November 5th, I'm talking to professional wrestler James Fury. He is another independent wrestler in his first 3 years of wrestling. On November 15th, I am talking to Beatrice Spoppel, and she is from A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. She's the actress that played Amanda Kruger, Freddy Krueger's mom, the nun, if you remember her. She was also in the movie Stakeout. She was Emilio Estevez's wife. She was in that movie. And then in December, you already know, December 6th, it is official. I am talking to my girl, Miss Lauren Marie Taylor from Friday the 13th, Part 2. You know me, you're Team Terry. I've always been Team Vicky. And then the very next day, on December 7th, I am talking to the director of Jason Goes to Hell, Mr. Adam Marcus. So those are the plans. And then after the new year, I'm just going to focus pretty much, like if I see a movie that's great, I'm going to fucking talk about it. Yeah. But I'm going to focus mainly on the interviews because I'm having fun doing them, like I said. And then I'm really having a blast. Thank you. We've talked about we're our own worst critics, and I always think I do a shitty job interviewing these guys. But a lot of people say I'm good because I let the person speak. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. And I'm really having fun introducing my friend Melissa to the horror genre. So,
oh yeah. I was able to do that with Mayanne a lot early. She hadn't seen a lot of, So and she got a bang up tossed right in thing because with me I was doing it was a couple of years ago during that summer when I was doing the 3 months of Italian horror, and she right as I was going into Fulci. So she got a bang up crash car or whatever education into gore right away.
And Melissa's having fun. We only got a couple boundaries. She's an animal lover, so there will be no like somebody requested the Toxic Avenger. That's not going to happen. She's a dog owner. The dog gets shot and killed in the cafe. That's not going to happen. I'm trying to get her to watch Candyman, but there's the scene with the dog that I don't want her to watch. You know what I mean? And you know me, I don't do rape revenge, so there will be no I spit on your grave. There will be no as much as I appreciate what it did, there'll be no Last House on the Left. You know what I mean? But other than that, as we go along, we're learning what's more fair game for Melissa. Like, I don't want her to be uncomfortable. Like, I'm not going to have her watch fucking Hostel. You know what I mean? Because she doesn't want to watch. She doesn't want to watch. Well, we got Halloween on the list. We have the classics too. We're gonna watch the first Friday the 13th. We're gonna watch the first Nightmare on Elm Street. We're gonna watch the first Scream. You know, those classics, just so she can say she's finally seen them. But I'm not making her watch Hostel with people getting fucking toes cut off just for the sake of it, type of thing. I want her to have fun. I want her to look forward, you know, to doing this.
Hey, if you want her to have fun right around Halloween, show her Night of the Demons, the first one.
That's actually on the list. It's on the list for next year because she wants to do. She wants to keep it fun. We've already got what we picked out for at least the next handful of weeks, but I want to revisit Night of the Demons because that's one of those movies that everybody loves. Kind of like you in Videodrome. I just can't get behind it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I appreciate what it's done for the horror genre. I appreciate the effects, but I'm just like, I don't get it.
Killer Clowns. You know she like that.
You know, I got the hat, man. I think she'll have fun with that because she does like cheese. She does like cheese. Like we just did Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Stupid fucking movie. But we got a good episode out of that. She had fun for the most part. We're doing this coming Wednesday, we're doing Troll 2 of all fucking things. Awful movie. But you know what? You can get a good episode because you can have fun discussing what a piece of trash that type of movie is. So that's our October choices. But I think next October I'm gonna at least do Night of the Demon, so I could see if it can be a redemption for me, and then something for her as well.
Cool.
I can't wait till she sees Linnea Quigley in the fucking lipstick.
Oh wow, yeah. Yes. Never lose physical media. Yeah, never. Do I like Spider? Yes, I do like Spider. Hey, Blucka Blucka, how you doing?
Hey,
yes, I love Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps is so much fun, dude. I that's one of those because I'm introducing my daughter to horror. She's 13. We just saw the Monster Squad on the big screen. Like I'm starting to do all the the gateway horror, like bringing her in, like the younger type of stuff, the Monster Squad, scary stories to tell in the dark. You know, the monsters, little monsters. The Gate. I want to do the Gate. I don't know if because I'm not gonna lie, man. When that fucking dude out of the wall takes that kid, that still scares the shit out of me. And when he falls and turns into all those little pygmy monsters or whatever they are, that scares the shit out of me. But I'm convincing her to get into it. Like she's now looking forward to watching at least spooky stuff, not necessarily a Nightmare on Elm Street or something like that yet, but she's getting into watching something that's spooky, that has that feel to it. Like she said just the other day she was kind of interested. She wants to see Boris Karloff's Frankenstein. Out of the blue, my 13-year-old daughter who can't get off the fucking phone was like, "Hey, that sounds cool." She's getting into the classics, you know what I mean? Because she's not one of those kids that it's black and white. I don't want to fucking watch it. You know what I mean? She'll watch it. Yeah. So.
Because some of the greatest films ever made with black and white. I mean, look at I love the women. You got oh my god, Of Mice and Men, great movie. Mm-hmm. The original one. Yeah. Fantastic with Burgess Meredith and Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah, just like I keep telling people, just because it's just a generation, dude. People just don't want to give it a shot. So I'm glad I started young with like introducing her to like the comedies. Like she was a big Three Stooges kid. She loved Abbott and Costello. Right now, what we're doing, we're binge watching on Tubi The Addams Family with John Astin, you know, from the 60s. We've been binge watching, and she's looking forward to it. After that, she wants to binge watch The Munsters. So I'm opening the door, kind of pushing her through. You know what I mean? To maybe get her to some more horror. So we'll see how it goes.
You got a future YouTuber, little Eric's daughter coming here YouTubing and.
Hey, she's done a couple kids related videos with me. You know, she likes to, you know, we've done some cartoons like we discussed Super Mario Brothers and shit like that. Next month in November we're doing it's Ninjutsu November. There's a couple family related ninja movies like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. She wants to participate with. And as she gets older, if she ever wants to discuss a horror movie, I'll bring her on. You know, she won't be on camera because I don't trust all those fucking weirdos out there. You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
yeah, she's looking forward to it. So I think that's kind of fun.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I can see 10 years from now she's got her own channel. It's kicking ass. Yeah, I can
She
see it
might,
now.
man. She might.
Yeah.
She likes discussing movies.
Oh, that's so cool. My oldest son, he just started college this year, but
Hmm.
he still lives with me. Um, he loves discussing film, and he you know the one that I did a film for thought with when I did a Saint Maud and shit. Him,
Hmm.
Ryan.
Yeah.
He is so good, and he's so good at it too, man. He's really deep about it. He likes the deep movie.
It's funny because today for school they went and saw a movie. It was like some fucking cartoon or something like that, and I walked her home from the bus stop. How was your movie? It was okay. It dragged a little bit in the middle. You know what I mean? But then it got
Pacing.
better. What fucking 13-year-old says a movie drags in the middle? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, she so
Really
she
get concerned when she starts calling it pacing issue.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe that's next year. But yeah.
she she will.
Yeah.
Um, hell yeah, that's awesome, man. But yeah, of course, you know what I'm doing. I've still got extreme grindhouse theater where I do the self-explanatory. Where me and a couple of people get together, me and Drake and Chris get together, and I have them watch a movie, two movies, and then we
Hmm.
get together and I do the review of it, and then ask them, and then talk to them about it after and during and all this kind of stuff. I've
Hmm.
got I got a new thing I'm doing just for this month, and it's called Analyzing the Scene, and it's
Okay.
on. I'm starting with the original John Carpenter Deborah Hill Halloween, and
Okay.
what I'm doing is taking the scenes, each of the scenes, and I'm discussing them and discussing what it's like from the character's point, as if the character was a real person.
Okay.
Discussing what the character's going through and what they're thinking and why they're doing what they're doing, and you know what I mean. Like for instance, the Ghost Bob scene.
Okay.
Um, I'm talking about why she starts to panic and then why she goes from being playful, going I see anything you like, to
Yeah.
I'm calling Lori. I need to find out where Paula and Annie are. This is going nowhere. Why
Hmm.
she all of a sudden? I'm discussing that, and that's
Okay.
what I'm doing. Yeah,
Okay.
it's something from totally different. I've already got that one ready to upload, so that's
Okay.
going to be good. And I'm also up to here deep in that Lucio Fulci documentary. I'm really making a lot on it. I'm doing everything right that I didn't do when I got in a hurry in Ranking Evil, because
Mhm.
I got myself into a situation where instead of taking my time and make it, I tried to make it an every week thing, and sometimes I just didn't feel like working on it. And
Burns you out, dude.
I
Burns
found
you
if
out.
you don't feel like it, don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got in a hurry.
You force yourself to meet that deadline,
Yeah,
and your quality drops.
yeah, yeah,
You know that
yeah.
that's why next year for me, other than like I said, the show with Melissa and then my interviews, I'm gonna upload when I want to upload because I don't want to lose the passion. I still like doing YouTube. I really do, but like I said, man, after 10 fucking years, what else can I really do? I finally found two things that I do like doing on my channel: introducing someone to horror and interviewing content creators and athletes and stuff like that, actresses, writers, what have you. That's I finally like you with the documentary. I finally found something I like to do and I look forward to doing. But like with
Yes.
the interviews, I'm not burning myself out. Two
Yeah.
interviews a month. That's it.
Right.
Unless
Yeah.
like the Holy Grail comes. You know what I mean? I'm like, I gotta
Right.
do that. I'm in 2 interviews a month. And like in December, I got my 2 interviews the very first week. Well, I'm fucking done unless someone actually comes to me and say, hey, you wanna hook up and do something. Other than that, I'm done. Because I don't want to get burned out. I don't want to lose the passion,
Right.
type of thing. And then I'm actually going to do starting new year as I'm kind of pushing away from the channel. I like to do audio podcasting. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
want to do a tribute to my friend Roger. Roger was the first friend who passed away in the 365 days. And on his channel, he had something called Defending My Collection. And he would
All right.
just go through, like the way he stacks his movies, he'd just go through, talk about little blurbs here and there, and then move on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do an audio podcast And I'm literally going to go from the first video I have over here all down the row. And I'm just going to have an audio podcast. I'm going to go through little bits and pieces, what I liked, what I didn't like. And I'm going to, I'm no professional, so I don't have to be professional. I'm just going to say, I liked this. I didn't like this. Here's my final score. And that's it. It's just something I can pump out whenever I want. Plus, I can give that little bit of a tribute to my friend Roger, because after 10 years, he's the one that got me on YouTube. He really is. And I think, 10 years, I'm not quitting YouTube. I'm just kind of scaling back, but I can still kind of give a little bit of a remembrance to him in a different form of like reviewing and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where it's not going anywhere. I mean, you can step again whenever you feel like it. If you feel like going in all the way again, you can whenever you feel like it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm going anywhere because I'm still doing the show with Melissa and the interviews too. So I'm just scaling back big time because it's just not there anymore for the most part. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm glad you reminded me. I got really busy over the weekend and through the week, but when we're done here, I'm gonna go check out that Carrie video and then
thank you.
And then I was meaning to do that, but like I said, I'm doing these 2 new projects. I'm still doing the thing here, and I'm still trying to spend time with my fiance and my son, and it's just not enough hours in the day.
Bro, family comes first. That's what I always tell people. Family comes first.
Yeah, my son's at his mom's this weekend. My fiance probably asleep, so I'm gonna check it out. I want to see how you guys do, and I'm expecting it to be really good because it is so cool to turn somebody onto horror, especially something as good as Carrie.
I'm very proud of it, and I think you will dig her and I's chemistry. It's just 2 friends bullshitting. She absolutely hated John Travolta. We were kind of picking on Nancy Allen. We're talking about, when she's convincing John Travolta to do it. She's down in his lap, and we're talking about, wow, she's got a mouthful, but she can really talk real good. She must be a really good ventriloquist. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And Melissa was very open. You can see that, it kind of brought back some memories because she didn't come from the best household either. So she's like, wow, she really identified with Carrie. And she talks about... Oh, we were just friends. Like she did adult films back in the 90s, and we just met on Twitter one day, and it's just one of those things that we just became good friends. And she had a radio show in California, and then like everybody, her life went to shit, and she was always wanting to return to audio, radio, stuff like that. And I said, well, why don't you just do something with me? You were watching movies, it'll be fun. And it just came out of nowhere where she just out of the blue, she texted me, have you ever heard of this movie, The Substance? No, never heard of it. You gotta fucking watch it. And this is somebody who's a newbie to horror, and she's watching a fucking body horror movie with heads getting cut off and gallons of blood being sprayed and teeth and fingernails and shit like that. And then she's like, well, why don't we just do a podcast where like every 3 episodes, we're going to cleanse the palate and not do horror because we don't want to get fucking sick of it. You know what I mean? We don't want to pigeonhole ourselves type of thing. But she's like, why don't we just do a podcast where we pick horror movies and that I've never seen and we discuss them? I said, that'd be fucking great. And it's just been a lot of fun. And, she looks forward to it. I look forward to it. And it's the Carrie episode I'm very proud of because she's very open with a lot of her childhood, being sheltered, dealing with parents, this and that. And she got very emotional. Like she was texting me as she was watching Carrie. She's like, I'm fucking bawling at the prom because we were talking about it. I said, they're in their own little world. That's my favorite scene, Keith, when they're spinning around because it's just them and no one else exists. And she says, I know what's going to happen, but I'm still rooting for her. You know what I mean? And that says something when the pig's blood's going to fall on her, but you're still rooting for Carrie and Tommy. And she was texting me. She's like, you asshole. I'm crying while watching this movie.
You remember my watch along of it?
Yeah.
The watch along I did during that part, and I described what was happening and how she was feeling and why it was terrible. And you could see me getting emotional about it because it's, finally, she gets what she never thought she would ever have. and it's her biggest dream come true. And then they shit on it, destroy it, and it reminds her that she's that girl that's not meant to ever have that moment.
Exactly.
It's
They
oh
just
my
tear it
god,
away. And we were talking about, how Tommy is falling for her. You know what I
he,
mean? Going
he
from the
liked it.
guy, going from the guy that only said yes because Sue wasn't gonna give him any action.
Yep.
That's the only reason why I did it. I love that scene where she's doing homework and Tommy's watching the
Yeah.
fucking TV.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll do it because he wasn't gonna get laid until he said yes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then
And
he was falling. He was in that moment. He was falling for her.
and
He really was.
Sue's seen that right before that bucket drops. She looks and notices how
Yeah.
affectionate he is with her, and she's like, she noticed. You better believe she did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She that she was like motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, Melissa was good because she said the theme of that movie is no good deed goes unpunished.
Mm,
Because if you think about it, Tommy dies,
that's smart.
the
Yeah,
teacher, the gym teacher dies,
yeah,
and then Sue is traumatized for the rest of her life.
yep,
No good deed goes unpunished. And that was
yep.
great because it's a good perspective of someone like me who's been into horror since high school, and Melissa who's only seen bits and pieces of stuff. So I'm very proud of that, Carrie. So if you leave a comment on that video, man, I'd really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, definitely will, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's been great talking to you, man. It's been a long time since we sit and did this.
Yeah.
I just appreciate it. I've been wanting to, ever since we talked, I've been wanting to, to do something, and
Mhm.
I figure we, maybe talk about Ace and everything. But then when he was like, hey, let's just talk about people we've lost, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, hell
Because like I
yeah,
said, I can't really contribute too much to Ace other than his personality. But I'm
right,
like, there's a lot of people that we've all loved and lost.
yeah,
And we've been, all of our little banter aside, we've been talking at least 90 minutes on these people we loved and lost.
right,
I don't know,
yeah. Hopefully, it's the last one we get this year, but it
yeah.
won't be.
It,
There's
it,
too
it
many.
won't be, but I mean, we got 2 months left, man. It is what it is. It's just that's why that's another reason why I'm glad we did this, so I can just anybody who's watching the live or watches the replay, just it ain't worth it, dude. It ain't
Right,
worth it. Just live your
exactly.
life, fix those burned bridges if you can. If you can't, at least you made an attempt, and then
Yeah,
just go on and live your life to your fullest. Because you can
yeah,
go tonight. You can go tonight. If all
yeah.
else
Because
if it's
there is one point where it looked like that was never going to be possible for us. So
yeah,
it's really cool that we're here now. So yeah,
yeah.
hell yeah.
Well, that's why I said if we can be an example, it's not like we fucking hated each other, but
Right.
there was that, you know, you're a stubborn
Yeah.
motherfucker, I'm a stubborn motherfucker, and we were just at that point
Yeah.
where I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna go into too many details, but like, I lost enough people. I'm at least gonna make an attempt, and now we've been back
Right.
streaming for
Good.
almost 2 hours, bro.
I'm definitely glad you did, man.
Yeah,
Because that's what I was hoping. That's what I was hoping before you were ready to. But you
yeah,
know what I mean. But hey, as long as it happened, that's
yeah,
good with me.
yeah.
Let's see. Akers says, "Can Eric review '90s comedy movies?" One nice
Uh,
question.
well, on the show with me and Melissa, I will say this. Like I said, every 2 or 3 episodes, we'll be cleansing the palate of horror so we don't get sick of it. I will
Mhm.
not discuss what we will be talking about after Troll 2, but it will be a late 80s comedy. And
Excellent.
that's all I'm going to say. She swore me to secrecy. We don't like to reveal what we're going to say until the end of the episode, the previous episode, so you can prepare to watch and,
Right.
watch our discussion along with it. But there are some comedies we have planned to discuss.
There's a few good late '80s ones too. Eddie Murphy.
We were just talking about me and Melissa were just talking about last night. We were talking about Porky's and Revenge of the Nerds. How
Oh,
you can't have that stuff nowadays. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah.
If in 2025 Richard Pryor wouldn't have a fucking career. You know what I mean?
Neither would Eddie Murphy the way he was back in the '80s.
Exactly.
No way. Yeah, like
You think
like
Sam
Joe
Kinison?
Medicine.
Sam
Yeah,
Kinison? Not gonna happen. You know what I mean?
yeah, man.
George Carlin? Not gonna happen.
Oh my god. Yeah, but
Different generation.
yeah. But thanks for the people who joined us, and hopefully everybody in the rewatch enjoys it.
Yeah.
Thanks to Eric for joining me. It's been a long time, so it was really cool and it was a lot of fun.
Thanks for
Hopefully we
having me,
don't lose
man.
you today. Oh hell yeah, always. But
Oh,
I will be
this ain't my
talking
last. This ain't my last time on the channel.
hell,
Trust me, we'll be doing stuff together again.
definitely,
My
definitely.
pleasure.
Hell yeah, man. Um, everybody take it easy. Much love to y'all. Much love to you, Eric.
Same to you.
And I will be catching you soon, man. Everybody have a great morning. Take it easy.
Yeah. Cheers.